What is going on, everybody? It's KB. Before the episode starts, make sure you go check out StreamerSZN's brand new theme music. That's right. We have full-time, brand new theme music thanks to the newest homie and newest member of the music side of Underground Sports Philadelphia homies. That is Mobley. Stay Volk. His new single is out now. It is linked in the description on YouTube, and you'll be hearing it on audio until we can figure out if we can play it on video on StreamerSZN episodes from here on out. That's our new theme music. Stay Volk. Go download it now wherever you get your music, and go check out the music video on YouTube. But now, let's get into the episode of StreamerSZN.
Philadelphia, baby, you're gonna love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
We love a good finale. What is going on, fellow streamers? Welcome into another edition of StreamerSZN, the exclusive streaming platform, TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. It's KB, it's Dylan, coming at you with one of our most loaded episodes of all time in show history. We have four programs, Progrums, that we're going to be talking about, including...
Not three. Wait, that's four. Yeah, four.
Four of them things. Including everybody's favorite segment at the end of the show, the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes. But Dylan, we've got She-Hulk's finale. Like, it's crazy. Like, we've talked about this, I think, off pod and on pod. She-Hulk going 9 episodes really transported, at least me, back to our peak prime days of Disney Plus Marvel content with the very first show in WandaVision, where I was just talking about this with DJ. You and I were complete and utter sickos during WandaVision, and we were up at 3 a.m. every single Friday morning watching WandaVision. The length of She-Hulk, though, really brought me back to WandaVision, where we kind of got to immerse ourselves into a universe for like two weather seasons. Like, She-Hulk started all the way back in August, and now it's October, and it's finally at its finale. So we're going to dive into She-Hulk episode 9, House of the Dragon episode 8.
Dude,
rest in peace.
that was a great episode, though.
We're going to get into just a wild sequence of events out in Westeros. We're going to get into a galaxy far, far away with Andor episode 6, the mid-season point for Andor. And then we're going to kick it back to the MCU, but go black and white. And I might edit the video as well and make that segment black and white in
That's
post.
pretty cool.
And we're going to talk about Werewolf by Night. Dylan hasn't watched it yet, but he knows the premise of the character.
I'm going to guess there's a werewolf in it.
By night. We're going to talk about Dylan will give his grade next week. I'll give my grade this week, and then we'll have our collective score for you guys next week for Werewolf by Night. But we're going to talk about what it means for the overarching MCU with Marvel's first holiday special coming into the fold, because we do have another one next month, Dylan, with the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Nova.
And Nova will be one of our big predictions that we made, it's been a while. Like, last spring we said that when we first got wind of it.
What feels like a millennia ago.
So we're going to get into what Werewolf by Night means for the MCU, where it falls into the timeline order, why it might end up there, and why I think Werewolf by Night is huge going into Phase 5, which is, according to a lot of Marvel executives and Marvel Insider people, going to be very monster-heavy, which you and I are very excited about.
I'm all for that. Because it just brings the different element. Like, we've seen like good versus evil in terms of like bad guy, good guy. Like, I wear a cape, you wear a spandex. You know, our ideals are different, but we haven't really seen I'm a bad guy because I'm a literal fucking like 20-foot tall monster demon thing, and I'll eat you. You know what I mean? It's a little different, so I like that.
And then, of course, we'll talk about the latest in the streaming platform universe with news and notes.
R.I.P. Cartoon Network.
Too soon.
I know I had to say that now, so everyone else could get sad too.
But before we get started, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at StreamerSZN on Twitter, Instagram. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. You guys know, once we get to 200 Twitter followers, Dylan will put Streamer Season in his Twitter bio. Not that he's been hosting this show for 2 years now.
Dude, I'm holding out for a hero. No, it's just...
He wants to incentivize the people.
Yeah.
That's what he told me.
Just being a dummy and forgetting, and then Kyle mentioned it, and then it clicked, and I was like, that is the best incentivizer. And here we are.
He said he wants you rascals to earn him putting Streamer Season in his bio. And I respect it.
Yeah, you have to earn me.
So, follow us on Twitter at StreamerSZN. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Also, gotta say, even though this is not a sports show, Flyers. Well done.
Pleasantly surprised.
Follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, you mongrels. Subscribe to the podcast feed. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, we are there. And Dylan, what should these dirty little rascals be doing in the Apple Podcast reviews?
Well, after they're done subscribing, like you just said, you should be leaving a review / comment, and let us know what you want us to watch next. We're open to anything. We have all the streaming services. I mean, we're reviewing 4 shows today. Like, come on now. Clearly, we're open to some different things.
And it doesn't have to be the nerd stuff. Like, yes, Dylan and I prioritize and incentivize the week-by-week nerd stuff because, 1, it does numbies. 2, it's the shit that Dylan and I really enjoy. But if there's something else out there that you want us to, partake in and dive into, we're more than willing. And there is something. Do not let me forget this later on. I was talking to Pat Pitts about this earlier in September because he was trying to, continue on his escapade of the Marvel Timeline watch and trying to figure out a way to watch the Venom movies, which is damn near impossible, which is stupid. But we stumbled upon something on Amazon Prime on the Stars channel that you can add to your Amazon Prime account. Yeah. There's a show, Dylan, that has a 100% Rotten Tomatoes score.
Wow. That's not heard of.
Right. It's pretty wild. So we'll bring that up later on in the show. But yeah, like Dylan said, leave us 5-star ratings and reviews. Let us know what you want us to watch. Let us know how you feel about the shows we've been watching as well. And you can also do that in the YouTube comments section. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. You get full video episodes of Streamer Season and all of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia shows in full video form. Subscribe. Smash that like button. Ring the bell icon. Comment down below your thoughts on She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, Andor, Werewolf by Night, and anything we bring up in the news and notes. We're on that road to 1K challenge. You already know what's going down when we hit 1K.
Yes,
the amount of people who have laughed at me, Dylan, and said, man, season 1 of Game of Thrones is real slow. I was like, yeah, well, that's what people are going to get. They're going to get my initial thoughts and reactions, fresh blood, on a show that came out a decade ago. So, subscribe. I watched season 1 of Game of Thrones. Subscribe. Dylan cosplays as a character that... And Dylan, I'm making this a priority for us next year. 2023 will be at New York Comic Con.
I'm okay with that. Hopefully
I think that needs to be a goal for this podcast. When we do our year in review, 2023 Comic Con, we will be there.
And hopefully it's not something super embarrassing if we reach the goal, the ticket marker. Hopefully
that would be great if we hit the 1K and then you cosplayed at Comic-Con.
Hopefully the people choosing aren't like maid outfit. And I'm like, no, please, God.
Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Clean?
But make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. It really helps us out, helps the network continue to grow, and it lets Dylan and I continue to talk about dope shit for you guys. So,
yes, sir.
Subscribe over there. But I'm gonna switch things up, Dylan. We're gonna dive into She-Hulk episode 9, and it's brought to you by the homies over at Tomahawk Shades, the best small batch eyewear in the game. I'm telling you guys right now. The sunglasses that our boy Matt Murdock is wearing, they're Tomahawk shades. They're Tomahawks.
You're not wrong. Kyle's preaching. Tomahawk not only supplies to podcasters and athletes, they've also branched out to motherfucking superheroes. So
the vigilantes of the world.
Yes, vigilantes is a more proper fitting term. But yeah, if Matt Murdock's wearing it, if Kyle's wearing it, why aren't you?
You should be wearing them. You guys can get your Blue Light Plus glasses, your sunglasses, and everything in between at TomahawkShades.com. And when you go to checkout, use code USP for 25% off your order at TomahawkShades.com. That's code USP at TomahawkShades.com for 25% off your order from our friends at Tomahawk Shades. Dylan, let's get into it. The final time for Season 1. Lots of Season 2 talk in this episode, which excited me a lot. But initial thoughts. She-Hulk Episode 9, the finale. I know you were quite critical of this show simply because it wasn't like your cup of tea in terms of show style. You're not a courtroom comedy guy. But I think these last 2 episodes, I think, flipped the script for a lot of people on how they felt about She-Hulk. I thought this episode was fucking brilliant. I think the way that they were able to allow the writers, Jessica Gao and company, to blatantly make fun of Marvel. It shows that they hear the concerns, the complaints. They give a nod to Kevin.
Kevin.
Hi, Kevin. I don't know about you, but when the moment happened that we go to the Disney Plus Marvel screen, I was watching this, full disclosure. You know, there's a lot of shows that come out during the week. I also have a day job. I came home from the day job today, Dylan, propped the phone up on the ledge in the shower. I was watching She-Hulk in the shower. And when it went to the Disney Plus screen, I literally audibly yelled, "What the fuck?" Because this episode was so chaotic, so absurd, that it was incredible. Like, things that we have never seen done in the MCU before took place in this episode. And I thought it was so flawlessly executed in so many ways for a finale, and I think they really stuck the landing on this one.
Yeah, trying to get comfortable at this house. I'm house sitting people. If you see the camera moving, don't judge me. No.
He's at Blonsky's retreat, actually.
Yeah, it's raining outside. So I genuinely, Kyle's right. I had my ups and downs with the show, but I would say they ended it on a much better note. I didn't anticipate the end reveal of a certain character. That was not on my radar initially.
That we talked about way back when.
We did talk about it. Like once we started like watching it and feeling it out, it became a realm of possibilities. But until the show like dropped, if you asked me that a year ago, I wouldn't be on my bingo board.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be on the bingo board, and then her and Matt Murdock, Marvin Gaye, would not also be on the bingo board. So there are some elements, and the fact that he's invited to the Hawk Cookout too. I didn't know that. It's pretty cool, man.
He's getting in with the fam.
He is.
And what I really liked was how this episode started. We got the original trailer from 2021 of She-Hulk when they had the original like GLK and H logo that we now have, and that's how She-Hulk was, presented to us when it was, first announced.
Yeah.
And we get that classic old school 1970s kicking it back to the original Hulk TV show.
Lou Ferrigno.
Shout out to Louis F. And we get a commercial with Jen Walters that airs with a 1970s theme that explains her rampage at the gala. Walters wakes up, and she's in the DODC Supermax prison. Did not expect that to happen either.
No.
She sees Nikki, Mallory, and our boy Pug, and Book tells Walters they have a plea deal, and Walters has to now wear a Hulk inhibitor device. And at GLK&H Los Angeles office, Walters packs up her things after being fired. The news reacts to her release, including many reporters staking outside her house, and Walters moves back to her parents' house, which is something we saw, that family dinner that's been in all of the credit scenes. We finally see her at the dinner table with mom and dad. And then we get Ramos and Walters thinking of ways to take down the intelligentsia for defamation of character. And they need to figure out the identity of the Hulk King, which, guys, we could have told you that like 2 weeks ago. Ramos then sees that Dennis Bukowski, that mongrel, that bastard, he's talking bad about her on live TV. And then Elaine Walters arrives and shows Ramos an old video of Jen in her college dorm room. And in her room, Walters talks about how she originally didn't want to be She-Hulk, but this doesn't feel right. A narrator then starts talking again, very funny, more fourth wall adjacent breaking. But she says that they're not going to do a narrator. It's not that bad. We're not that down bad. And then she proceeds to text both Bruce and Emil Blonsky, only to have her text messages not deliver. And meanwhile, Nikki uploads the video of Jen in college to the Intelligentsia website in order to become an established member. She enlists the help of Pug to be her man while she tells him what to do and say. I thought that was pretty hilarious that they were like, Pug, you know, if you kick it back a few episodes, Pug was asking Nikki for favors to go get those new kicks.
Full circle.
Now Nikki needs a favor here from Pug. Jen arrives at Summer Twilights and sees Dirk Garthwalt, who was the former Wrecking Crew member. And as she settles, Pug infiltrates an Intelligentsia meeting only to find that scumbag, that loser, Todd, that bastard, who reveals himself to be the Hulk King. Pug struggles to fit in because he hates their mindset, but he does so anyway. And the reception then cuts out on Nikki's call. And meanwhile, Jen tries to find Blonsky, and Gartwalt tells her that he's at a private event down at the barn. And at the party, Phelps addresses the crowd and introduces the motivational speaker, the Abomination. Blonsky walks out as Abomination, oblivious to the Intelligentsia's true agenda. Blonsky believes he's doing a motivational speaking, and suddenly, coincidentally, arrives at the barn, which is on the property of Summer Twilights. Blonsky reverts to human form and tries to explain himself to Jen for breaking his plea deal. Pug tells Jen that Phelps is Hulk King, and they got scram. They got to get out of there, Dylan. It's not looking good.
They got to skedaddle, bro. They got to Scooby-Doo. Get out of there.
Like, Zoink Scoob, we got to get out of here.
Exactly.
Todd goes on a rant about how he earned his own powers before using a serum developed by Jen's blood to turn himself into a Hulk. Then randomly, Titania arrives despite Jen's remarks about how messy it is. Abomination goes to save Jen by picking her up. Then out of the clouds, Bruce shows up, dropping through the ceiling, thinking that Blonsky is attacking Jen. And Walters is super confused on how all the plot lines match up. And I gotta say, Todd as a Hulk was absolutely gross and disgusting. I heard a very hilarious comparison on New Rockstar's after show Inside Marvel. They said it was like the early 2000s Scooby-Doo movies, oddly enough, when Scrappy like starts turning into that monster. They said that's what Todd looked like.
He's unlocked the memory, bro, but you're not wrong.
And then we get the Disney Plus home screen to pop up, which to me, that's a fourth wall break, and Jen is entering into our universe. And so Walters breaks her inhibitor and crashes through the home screen, and she's looking around. And Dylan, what was your initial thought before she eventually jumps through the screen that we'll bring up? I was like blown away that this happened. I was like, this has never been done before. This is pretty wild. I was like, is she going to jump into multiverse of madness? What were your initial thoughts when that Disney Plus screen popped up? Because I thought something went wrong with my app.
I was going to say the same thing. Initially, I was kind of half asleep when I watched the show, so I was like, damn, did I fall asleep and like miss something? And then she just jumps out like I'm watching a horror movie or something, but not really. And I'm like, what's going on? Like I felt
so confused.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we probably speak for most people, Kyle and I. I feel like probably most of us are watching it. We're just genuinely like, what is happening?
Yeah.
What is going on?
So then she finds the assembled tablet there on the Marvel screen of Disney Plus.
And she didn't throw the tablet like Tom Brady, so shout out to you.
Yes. She climbs in, kind of bangs into Loki's screen a little bit, which I think is I don't know if I'm reading too much into it that she like kind of like hit that on the way in, but that was I think kind of intentional. And at Marvel Studios headquarters, we get that initial trailer scene of Jen dropping down and seeing her, hulked out in the OG She-Hulk costume that we saw in the original trailers.
I like that.
She's at Marvel Studios headquarters, walking around, real people there. This reminded me of so many times that we've seen just characters drop into real life universes, and it's like, what are you doing here? She's on that backlot in Burbank, and she talks to Jessica Gao, the producer and director of She-Hulk, and the rest of the writers, talking about the script. She claims she's going to talk to a man named Kevin, and it's very interesting that if you put these subtitles on, she's Jen, when she says Kevin, it's like the human name Kevin, but when any of the writers said it, it was all caps K.E.V.I.N. And I was like, what?
Yo.
What are we talking about here?
What do you mean by that?
So she breaks through security to find a machine named Kevin. Also had to sign that NDA that is allegedly on the Marvel Studios backlot that everyone has to sign when they arrive. I thought that was also very funny. But she finds this machine named Kevin that has a hat on that says Kevin, and robotically kind of resembles our Lord and Savior Kevin Feige.
You're not wrong.
When that popped up, I don't know if you were the same way. Till I said, "Hi, Kevin."
I said the same. I always say that when anybody named Kevin. So yeah.
Were you anticipating actual Kevin Feige being in that room? Because we get these big TV screens and everything that are similar to your aunt's house that you're at right now, showing all of this stuff from the MCU and everything. A lot of Hulk stuff too. And I was like, is Kevin Feige about to be MCU canonized right now?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. And given how the episode was transgressing, like I thought it was a possibility. Didn't expect to see like that version of him though either. So either way, I was pleasantly, I guess, shocked or surprised.
So we meet Kevin, who is this robot, pretty much to fill in for Kevin Feige, and Kevin greets her while reviewing the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Before letting her talk, Kevin tells her to revert to human form because of how expensive she is, but you got to do it when the camera's not on you. Very funny, very, ahead of everybody talking about, the CGI with She-Hulk and everything.
Yeah.
And everybody talking about how expensive it is to Hulk out people. Jen tells him how unhappy she is with her story. And Kevin tells her that it isn't her show, but she claims it's a legal comedy and wants to state her closing argument. She proceeds by talking about how everything is thrown at the audience in the climax and claims that isn't needed in her story. Jen requests that Kevin erases Todd and the blood plot line, as well as erasing Hulk's appearance to come save the day. She also asks Abomination to reprimand himself for his actions, and she continues by asking for Daredevil, the X-Men, and to stop with the daddy issues for everyone that's a hero. Hulk, Thor, daddy issues. Thor, Loki, daddy issues. Same daddy, same issues. Star-Lord, two daddy issues.
Yeah.
Very, very funny. Kevin simply tells her that the X-Men aren't coming yet. Very funny. Very, on the nose of Kevin Feige. And Jen shifts the focus to Season 2. Very interesting there. But the machine informs her that the glitch in the platform has been fixed. Jen leaves, but not before Kevin teases her about getting a movie, only to say he was joking.
It's kind of sus, bro.
I don't think you're joking there, Kevin. I don't think Kevin's joking.
It's kind of sus, bro.
Back at Summer Twilight, She-Hulk arrives back and approaches Todd, who thinks she is going to kill him. Walter simply tells him she will see him in court. Titania gets arrested, and Daredevil suddenly arrives to help, but is informed he's too late. You miss it. Daredevil literally, like Fortnite, dropped in. was like, bro, where were you at? He's ready to go.
Fortnite dropped in.
Man dropped in like it was Tomato Town.
Just dropped in Tomato Town.
Get down.
Yeah, he did.
Jen talks to Blonsky about his parole violation before leaving. He understands. And at the Walters home, the family has dinner with Matt Murdock, looking quite snazzy in his little button down there. Morris Walters talks to Matt about his intentions, but he assures them that he is just visiting for the week. He's just staying for the week. He's got to go back to Hell's Kitchen. And Bruce Banner arrives saying he was on Sakaar for a little bit. Kind of what we assumed all the way back in episode 2. He's got a new shirt on. And then he announces that he's got some news for the people and introduces to us, Dylan, his son Scar.
Yes, and that makes sense why he was sneaking away so often to go to outer space.
Scar is MCU canon. He is here. Something we talked about way back in August when episode 2 went down. We speculated, we thought, we didn't know exactly if they were going to introduce Scar at this point in time, but he's here. I was blown away that they did it. I was like audibly yelling, "Oh my god! Oh!
They did the thing!
They did it!" The way that Scar looked, possibly Young Avengers plot incorporation, but I think it only adds to. I think in a few years, Dylan, we are getting a World War Hulk movie.
And I think in a few years after we get that movie, I'll be a very happy boy.
That movie gonna be expensive because of all the CGI.
Yeah, because it's gonna be pretty much only CGI.
But man, Scar introduced, and now I don't know when he's gonna come back through into the MCU. But he's here and just crazy shit. This show introduced so much crazy shit, and then in the next days, Jen is cleared of her crimes. A reporter asks Walters if she will come after people as She-Hulk or Walters. She replies saying both. And at the Supermax prison, in a quick mid-credit scene, Blonsky gets broken out by Wong. And I truly, Christian was texting me before we started recording too, Dylan. I truly don't know what to make of this Blonsky and Wong bromance.
Yeah, it's a little weird, right?
I don't know. We'll have to do some digging if there is any comic bromance between those two. The only thing that comes to mind, and it is going to be delayed because Blade is now delayed, which we'll get into later on, which makes total sense, and I'm fine with it because of what's happened with it. But Blonsky and the Midnight Suns, maybe?
I could see that. It fits kind of their narrative, and then in this adaptation of him, he seems relatively tame so far.
There's so many questions between Wong and Blonsky, and now Scar and Matt Murdock.
Especially because Wong is the acting sorcerer supreme.
Yeah, it's the WCU. It's the Wongers cinematic universe.
Not only is it Wong sneaking away to do stuff with this guy who's a criminal, it is the Sorcerer Supreme sneaking away to do stuff with this guy.
Yeah. I thought this was one of the most creative, funny, well schemed and written finales we've gotten of any of the MCU shows on Disney Plus. I thought they stuck the landing really, really well. I think season 2 could and should totally happen for She-Hulk. I really enjoyed this finale, and as a whole, I really enjoyed this show. I think it brought in so many new elements to the MCU that were previously not present. I think Mark Ruffalo's statement, earlier this year saying that the MCU cannot go forward anymore without She-Hulk in it makes complete sense. I think they did a really, really good job with this show. And I think it's one of the better Phase 4 projects as a whole. And And I think there's a couple concerns still, just to see where this is going to lead. But as a whole, one, please, Marvel, don't limit yourself with episode counts. If it needs more episodes, do it. Because I think She-Hulk and WandaVision, and even What If, are prime examples of lengthening a season. It gives you more opportunities to really stick the landing much, much better. I hope Marvel takes into account all of the, self-inflicted backhandedness from this episode and really puts that into play moving forward. But overall, I think this episode was phenomenal. I think episode 8 and episode 9 were, boom, like, damn near flawless episodes.
No, you're not wrong. They were good. I'm going to give this probably the highest score if I had to think, because I know I've been very critical of this show. But no, I did enjoy the I can't say plot twist, but the additions and subtractions of the show. So I think if I had to actually sit here and grade it, be my highest one. I think I give it like a 7.5, 7.6
for the episode. I'm gonna give it like I said, like this episode did things that one I would have never predicted in a gazillion years. And I think they did a really good job of like executing those ideas, and also like who would have thought we would see Marvel making fun of themselves and taking the criticism that fans have given them and people in the industry have given them. I thought it was some of the best stuff Marvel has put out in a really long time. I'm going to give this episode a very, very solid 8.9 out of 10. And I mean, I think this show really unlocked a new pathway for the MCU and is going to open up so many doors to make the MCU that much bigger and better. From the introduction of all these side goofy misfit characters to bringing back Emil Blonsky, more Wong, Daredevil, obviously with a phenomenal introduction last week. I think Tatiana Maslany was fantastic casting for She-Hulk. And as Jen Walters, I think she's going to be a superstar in the MCU. And I think this show was really, really well done. I think they really took their time in a lot of aspects in making sure that it was done correctly. And I'm very, very happy with how She-Hulk Attorney at Law turned out to be as the final MCU Disney Plus property in terms of a week-by-week show that we get in 2022. So hashtag sad. But, I mean, to take us from mid-August to mid-October the way that they did, it really gave us, a journey. It felt like we were immersed into this universe. And I think it was a really, really well-executed show. So, Dylan, for the first time since I Am Groot, we have a season-long review to drop for the people, and show-wise, first time since Miss Marvel, which in the MCU timeline order, apparently, according to Disney Plus, She-Hulk comes before Miss Marvel.
Interesting.
So, Dylan, She-Hulk Attorney at Law, your overall season rating.
Okay, I'm not going to hurt it. It's going to be 7.1 as an overall.
7.1 out of 10. Bang. And for reference, here are Dylan's scores so far for the year 2022. The Book of Boba Fett, 7 out of 10. Peacemaker Season 1, 9.5 out of 10. Daredevil, 9 out of 10, and that is a collective all 3 seasons. Moon Knight, 9.1 out of 10. Obi-Wan Kenobi, a 7.9 out of 10. Stranger Things Season 4, a 9.1 out of 10. Miss Marvel, a 7.1 out of 10. The Gray Man, 6.2 out of 10. I Am Groot, 7 out of 10. And now She-Hulk Attorney at Law, 7.1 out of 10.
That's me.
For my scores, same show, same order. 8.4 out of 10 for Book of Boba Fett, 9.4 out of 10 for Peacemaker Season 1, 9.5 out of 10 for all 3 seasons of Daredevil. Moon Knight a 9.7 out of 10. Obi-Wan Kenobi an 8.8 out of 10. Stranger Things Season 4 a 9.9 out of 10. Miss Marvel an 8.6 out of 10. The Gray Man a 7.3 out of 10. And I Am Groot a 7.7 out of 10. She-Hulk Attorney at Law. The last 2 episodes really spike, I think, the overall rating for this show.
Yeah.
And I think overall it was much better than Miss Marvel as a collective whole. Not that Miss Marvel was bad. I loved Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel. I just think you guys know we hated the villains on that show.
Villains on that show were dog water.
I'm going to give She-Hulk an 8.9 out of 10. I think a lot of factors for that go into what we talked about last week. They didn't Disneyfy Daredevil, which I think was huge. I think Tatiana Maslany was fantastic. I think Wong being involved, Emil Blonsky being involved, and then just the finale was unbelievable. So 8.9 out of 10 from me, a 7.1 out of 10 from Dylan, and the quick math at home for the people, you add those two numbies together, you equal it out, you divide it by 2, it's a solid 8.0 out of 10 for She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which, Dylan, is our first round number score we've given all year.
Dude, we're the best.
So our overall scores: Book of Boba Fett 7.7 out of 10, Peacemaker Season 1 a 9.5 out of 10, Daredevil 9.3 out of 10, Moon Knight 9.4 out of 10, Obi-Wan Kenobi got an 8.4 out of 10, Stranger Things Season 4 got a 9.5 out of 10, Miss Marvel 7.9 out of 10, The Gray Man 6.8 out of 10, I Am Groot 7.4 out of 10, and then She-Hulk Attorney at Law an 8 out of 10, which I think lines up pretty solidly across the board with everything else. It doesn't spike too high in front of anything. I don't think it, fell too low where we would have to readjust some scores. I think 8 out of 10, I think, for She-Hulk. Where would you rank it in terms of all of the MCU properties show-wise? Because I personally think it might be top 4. I'll say I didn't include What If in that because it's kind of in its own category as animated, but
I definitely enjoyed, even though my scores were pretty much the same, just because I didn't like early on. She-Hulk was hard for me to follow. But I would say as a whole, I would give the edge to She-Hulk over Miss Marvel.
Agreed.
And then looking back, like the Hawkeye show and the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, like they're kind of forgettable. I'm not knocking them. It's just they were just kind of there. At least She-Hulk brings up some pretty crazy idea points, and it also introduces a lot of things. Like the 2 other shows that I named, there's some big things that happen and they introduce characters, but
they felt rushed.
They definitely rushed, and at least I'll give the She-Hulk cast and directors and all that credit in terms of it didn't feel rushed. For me, the reason I just can't going forward, it's not just a She-Hulk, it's Marvel. Y'all need to fucking fix your CGI because it's bothering me and many other Americans and people across the world.
And see, to me, it didn't really mess with me too much.
I've noticed some people don't mind it. Some people, not you, but some older people, maybe our parents are a little older. Sorry if you're listening. They don't realize it looks crappy or not.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not I'm not paying attention. For me, when I'm watching, I'm not paying too close attention to those details because I'm very much just tapped into the plot. I'm looking for Easter eggs and everything to bring to the show.
You're analyzing a little piece of red in the corner and you're chanting Mephisto. I get you, Kyle. You have the tempo. No, but he's not wrong. It's just I think it might come from maybe the reason for me anyway is I play or used to play a lot of video games, so I'm used to cutting edge effects. So if I'm watching a TV show, that's, for example, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later, but Andor, the effects in that episode were fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I hold things highly because there are tons of other shows, some from the same parent provider, Disney, that look beautiful. And others.
Dylan, is that a red laser on your forehead? Hi, Kevin. But yeah, I agree. I think She-Hulk, to me, I think falls in like number 4 ranked show, because I think you and I both agree, like, in that elite pantheon, it's WandaVision, Loki, Moon Knight. Like, they're all kind of together.
Those three are just so goated. The rest, and I'm not knocking any of them, the rest just are like have moments and episodes where it just feels like meh.
Yeah, like Falcon and Winter Soldier, we talked about it when it debuted. Like, there were the script rewrites. So, like, that show got a little, juggled a bit. And, there were pieces from it that we really enjoyed. But it was one of those things I was like, damn, like, I wish we could have seen the original script for this. Hawkeye, I think, was rushed. I think that show could have been like an 8-episode thing. Again, introduce some key characters, some key plot lines for the MCU moving forward, but again, just kind of felt rushed. And then I put What If in its own category because it's kind of doing its own thing.
Yeah.
It's animated and it's on a different scale, but still, if we were to put it, I would put What If in that elite pantheon. Trying to think of the other shows that we've had. Miss Marvel was very good. I think they stuck the landing with the casting of the main character. Iman Vellani is fantastic. The plot felt very, very, very rushed. And that's no knock on them. From everything we heard during that, it was like they were not guaranteed a season 2, so they were trying to fit in as much as possible into that because she's going to be a key piece in the Marvels movie. She-Hulk, I think they did a fantastic job of stretching the plot just enough to give you everything you needed. It didn't feel rushed, and I think that's such a huge thing for these streaming platform Marvel shows, that you don't want to feel rushed. You want to feel like you're immersing yourself into that show's universe.
Yeah.
And I think they did a really, really good job with that, and that's why I put it kind of number 4 behind those 3 elite tier live action shows.
Yeah, agreed. I think... Like, I definitely, it's not, She-Hulk's not my least favorite Marvel show, and I think there's moments of it that are good, like, just for the universe in itself. And that's kind of what I feel like the overarching thing is with the Marvel shows.
Yeah.
Besides, I mean, I guess WandaVision does it. No, WandaVision introduces them. Yes, so they all, thinking about it, they all introduce new characters, and that's really what their purpose is, whether or not you may like it. If you like the MCU and Marvel as a whole, we have to acknowledge that, at the end of the day, the shows are serving a purpose, and they are bringing in more characters because, it would get kind of weird and wonky if every, like, new movie, like, imagine the next Marvel movie, like, if they didn't have these shows and, like, like, U.S. Agent pops up randomly fighting side by side with, like, you'd be like, who the hell are you, guy?
Who the fuck is that guy?
Where are you from?
Yeah, so hats off to the entire She-Hulk cast, crew, production staff, Kevin Feige. I think they did a really, really good job with this show. And I'm excited to see more of Jen Walters and She-Hulk in the MCU moving forward, whether it's on the big screen, a season 2, or both. I think she's going to be a key cog in the wheel for the MCU moving forward into Phase 5.
But do you know who we're not going to see more of?
Patty Considine, Dylan, because...
You read my fucking mind, Kyle, with the assisted segue. Let's get it.
That boy did. Cue the music. I
want to say... Also, first of all, awesome. Second of all, shout out to Patty. He killed that role. The more I watched it, I don't know if you felt this way. I know we had our... Well, we both agreed the King is the baby back,
And we said that was more character than Patty Considine himself.
Oh, no, Patty is awesome. I was going to say shout out to him for acting that well. But I was going to say that as the show went on, I kind of felt for his character because he keeps saying, he said it like twice. He's like, please, do it for your grandpa.
Just get along, you fucks.
You grandsire. Which bring back the word grandsire. Let's do away with grandpa.
That was pretty solid.
Grandsire, I'm here.
Speaking of Patty Considine, before we get into House of the Dragon Episode 8, which is brought to you by our homies over at Kenwood Beer, Philadelphia's #1 light lager of choice. It's Dylan's favorite beverage when he's riding on the back of a dragon responsibly. Go to kenwoodbeer.com, use that all new and improved Kenny tracker to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia area. Crack open an ice cold Kenny when you're heading out to Westeros. But of course, you got to be 21 or older to do so, and please drink responsibly. Patty Considine did post on his Instagram a couple days ago, Dylan, 2 photos of him from episode 1 of House of the Dragon with this caption on his Instagram. Thank you for the kind words. I cannot reply to every comment, but I'd like to acknowledge that they haven't been lost upon me. It was an incredible adventure where I made lots of new friends that will be with me for the rest of my life. I'd like to thank the creators for allowing me the freedom to make Viserys my own. I have never loved a character so much. I want to give a massive love and respect to Brooke Cyan, who came in for only a few days but changed the course of my character with her brilliant performance and commitment to the work. The impact stayed with me until my final improvised words. Yes, the words that Patty gave on the deathbed as King Viserys were all improv. As were when he comes in and is walking up the steps to the Iron Throne, Dylan.
That's awesome.
The crown falling off of his head was just an accident. Like, that wasn't supposed to happen. And
That
Matt
scene
Smith
choked me up, bro.
improved helping him up the steps and then putting it on his head. That was not in the script.
I don't know about you or anybody else listening, but that scene choked me up a little bit.
It was pretty epic. So then let's see. She unlocked the missing piece of the puzzle for me and allowed my story to come full circle. From the moment she dies, so does Viserys. It was a love story. That's the secret I carried with me. As sick as he gets, he never himself demands any cure. He quietly accepts his suffering, never forgiving himself for putting his beloved wife through such torture in her final moments. Viserys was a gift. I am so honored he found me. Now, no more. Shout out Patty Considine. A job well done. Bravo, sir. Really, really, I don't think there could have been anybody else to have executed the role of Viserys as well as Patty Considine did. But Dylan, episode 8 of House of the Dragon, the Lord of the Tides. We've got 6 years, another time jump.
This show is so dramatic, and I mean it in the best way possible. Because every episode, it's just someone like, no. I'll tell you why I'm worthy of the title of this. Insert like random or kingdom like me.
I deserve the driftwood throne.
My way.
Corlys Velaryon, Lord of the Driftmark, is severely wounded fighting in the Stepstones. His brother, Sir Vaemond, petitions King's Landing to name him as Corlys' heir, proclaiming Rhaenyra's son, Lucerys, illegitimate. Rhaenyra and Daemon return to the capital to defend Lucerys' claim. They find King Viserys bedridden, disfigured, and mentally muddled. He looks like homegirl from SpongeBob. What are they selling? They're selling chocolates. They're selling my seat on the throne, Dylan. Queen Alicent and Sir Otto Hightower now oversee all royal matters. Alicent covers up Prince Aegon raping a handmaiden, like, total scumbag. Like, Alicent's kids fucking suck.
Yeah, and she's trying because she smacks the shit out of that kid. And
Right?
He just sucks.
Oh, he's the worst. Rhaenyra proposes 2 marriage arrangements to gain Prince Rhaenys' support. The queen that never was for the people at home. She also implores Viserys to defend her succession, quoting Aegon the Conqueror's dream about the prince that was promised. As Vaemond's petition is presented at court, Viserys, barely ambulatory, enters the throne room and declares Lucerys the Driftmark heir. And Dylan, I gotta tell you, this episode was debuting, and then we also had playoff baseball happening. And obviously, lol Mets. The New York Mets get eliminated. And in Game 3, in a non-save situation, down 4-0, they bring Edwin Diaz in and do the little trumpet do-to-do that they do. Somebody edited the entrance of King Viserys coming into the throne room with Edwin Diaz's trumpets, and it is absolutely hilarious how well it times up and matches up with him walking to the Iron Throne.
Oh shit!
Um,
That was a very powerful scene, though. I was very happy
Yeah.
that this episode there was not a lot of. Well, someone does lose their head, but
keeps their tongue.
There was not an extreme amount of action. But you can agree, disagree. Anyone listening, chime in, please, via comments and stuff. But I felt like the pacing was incredible, and the drama, like I'm saying, it's the best way possible, was like delightful. Like every like couple minutes, you're wondering like what is going to happen, because there's so much at stake with the whole illegitimacy of people's kin, like not getting certain things. It's like it's a big deal, and you can see how, because we know they're going to take more time jumps, especially next season. So you can see how it's going to play off in the long run, and how like people are getting jaded, and it's just really interesting to watch. Like every character kind of strive for their own little motif.
Yeah. King Viserys enters the throne room, declares Lucerys the Driftmark heir, and then Vaemond, he says, fuck it, I'm on one. And Dylan, I'm saying this for the headphone users, be prepared, because Vaemond says, her children are bastards! Which was unreal. If you want to get your point across, just yell at the top of your lungs. Just scream, yell.
Dude, he's not smart, but I will say
he takes it one step further too and says Rhaenyra is a whore.
Yeah. Well, you can say he got ahead of himself.
And then our boy Daemon, we've been hashtag Team Daemon from the jump, and he comes through with his Valyrian steel and splits Vaemon's head in half. And
Daemon is a Chad, dude. He doesn't even think. He just fucking swings his sword, and he's like, "Yeah, it's done."
That boy was like, "See ya, I'm gonna swing."
Bro's like part of the Han Solo Greedo debate. He always shoots. He always swings his sword first. Like he's just fucking out here.
And this was right before Viserys says, "I'll have your tongue for that," and whips out his dagger. And Daemon's like, "Nah, I got you." Bang, dead. Which, for all accounts, if you are Team Rhaenyra, Team Daemon, Team Targaryen, that's a good thing for your squad, because Vaemond was rocking with the greens.
He was rocking with the greens.
And Daemon, just as he always does, Matt Smith has been fantastic in this show, says he can keep his tongue.
Clean and a half, my guy.
Clean. So then the family appears to reconcile during a feast because King Viserys wants supper.
That was an awkward feast. It was cool.
Very.
There was a moment where everyone's happy, and you're like, "This is so wholesome." And then you're like, "Wait a minute, this is Game of Thrones. Something's gonna go wrong."
But after Viserys leaves because that boy tired, Aemond gives a toast to his nephews.
He's all tuckered out. Leave him alone.
After a pig gets put in front of Aemond, which was just pure comedy. One of the funniest pieces of content in this show. What a callback. Pig plopped right in front of him. And then he gives a toast to his nephews, who are wise, strong, and Jace doesn't like that too much and says, "Say that again, bitch. Say it again." And then they get to tussling once again. Fight ensues, and Rhaenyra's 3 eldest sons, true paternity, gets insulted, and Viserys, near death, mutters parts of Aegon the Conqueror's dream, which Alicent believes refers to their son Aegon. But King Viserys thinks he's talking to Rhaenyra, and Alicent's lady-in-waiting, Tayla, is secretly providing Daemon's former mistress, Mysaria, with information. Shit's gonna pop off in these last 2 episodes. A civil war is coming, and I'm not talking Cap versus Iron Man. This episode was unreal. I thought the pacing was intentionally slow because they want that build up. So if you felt it was slow, I think there was a reason for it.
And I like that. I think it fit for this episode.
I thought this episode was really, really well done, and really like sets the tone for what is going to come in these final 2 episodes, which are titled The Green Council. That is this week's episode title. And then the finale is The Black Queen. Shit's going to pop off, and I'm excited. And I got to say, Aemond wants nothing more than Daemon to be his daddy.
Yeah, fuck that kid, though.
Man, what a true blue scumbag he is. He is good with a sword with one eye, though.
Yeah, although, to be fair, all the kids are kind of like little, cover your ears, earmuffs. This is a very, very popular word in England to say. All the kids are cunts, dude.
Fuck them kids. Fuck
They're
them
all
kids.
annoying, dude. Like, they literally were having a nice feast, and, you know, like, the one kid was laughing, the pig, I get it, but then they start fighting. Like, come on, like, your moms both legit. Like, the moms had a legit, sincere apology to each other. Like, it wasn't half-assed. Like, they weren't being snarky. I took it, I'm sure you took it as they were genuinely saying, like, I'm sorry. Like, thank you. Like, you know, like, trying to
put this behind us.
Yeah. And then even Otto was, like, clapping his hands and, like, you know, I mean, people were like, all right, this is... And then the kids were like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want war. you little brown hair bastards, as the guy said. You know, come on.
They're bastards. This episode was wild. And I think this episode was more of a build-up episode than last week's episode, in my opinion. I enjoyed the action from episode 7 more. I enjoyed the plot progression of this episode a lot, though.
I think I might give this my highest score just because of all the plot, dude. It was nuts.
The plot was great. I still think I enjoyed episode 7 just a teeny bit more. But I like this episode a lot. So, Dylan, The Lord of the Tides, episode 8 of House of the Dragon, as we get set for the penultimate episode and the finale of season 1 of House of the Dragon. By episode 8, what's your score?
I'm giving it a 9, dude.
There it is. Cracking the 9s.
I think it was a great episode. I think it was good pacing, like, for what it is. I think it sets us up perfectly, like Kyle was saying, for shit the power keg to, like, literally go off. I just can't wait to see what's going to happen next. You never know in Game of Thrones, like, esque shows, so.
I'm going to give this bad boy an 8.7. I will say, when Vaemon's head got cut in half, my jaw hit the ground. I felt like a cartoon character. I said... And I was literally stuck like that for like 3 minutes because I couldn't believe I had watched that.
And
then they put him on that. Then they put him on that table, and his head is split in half. Still, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?"
The queen who never was like, "No, I'll watch."
Oh, watch.
And I'm like, "Girl, are you okay?"
Death doesn't faze her anymore.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen in this penultimate episode, titled "The Green Council"? So obviously, I think this next coming episode is going to be more tailored towards the Hightowers, towards Alicent, Otto, and their preparation for this civil war. That's, you know, on the horizon. But what do you think is going to happen?
But it's also, like, I think it's their coming to terms with, like, Rhaenyra is now going to be queen because her father's dead. She's next in line, right? So it's like, do you battle for succession, or do you kind of do what Otto said many episodes ago and beg her and, like, be on her side? And that was the vibe I kind of got when Alicent was initially, like, before, you know, Patty had his, like, dream vision, and now Alicent's like, yeah, my son's the but
she was looking deep in that eyeball canal.
Yeah, before that, I think when they were, like, saying their sincere apologies, and she said, you'll make a great queen, or a good queen, or good ruler, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was, like, relatively, like, spot on. Like, it wasn't her lying or being an asshole. Like, I think she was talking the truth, or her truth. So I think it's gonna be basically Team Green deciding if they want to, like, you know, like, start shit up again or keep it going, or if they want to kind of, like, kiss the ring.
Yeah.
Because Otto might lose. The other thing to think about, Otto's the hand. Is Rhaenyra going to keep Otto? Probably not.
Probably not. I think there's a couple people that are going to be lined up to be the hand to the queen. One question I have: do you think Corlys is actually still alive? And all of this shit happens, and he's gonna be like, "Hey yo, I'm good. Like, I got a little banged up, but like, what the fuck is going on right now?"
He could.
Because we
Although
just
the
got
way they
that
were
one
talking
update about him in the beginning, and then nothing else.
The way they were talking about it, though, Team Green, it sounded like they staged it.
Yeah, I agree. It sounded very strange. And then, do you think Rhaenyra's former husband, who escaped and is living his secret life, do you think we'll see him again at any point in these final 2 episodes?
No, dude, that guy is living his best life. He is living the vida loca. He is.
See, I think we will see him simply because what we talked about last week, his dragon is still around, and his dragon's not going to yield to anybody because he knows that his master is still alive. And I think that could play into it a little bit. I could be wrong. Could be totally just being a big old dummy. But I think these next 2 episodes are going to be absolutely batshit bonkos crazy. I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
I think it's more like backstabs and like plot. And like I told you before, season 2 is just going to be fucking like legit armies and wars and stuff. This is all laying out the mortar, the foundation of that.
George R.R. Martin is now on the record saying he needs 4 seasons to do justice to the Dance of the Dragon, plot and everything. So we're gonna get at least 4 seasons of this.
Cheers to that, George.
And like I mentioned earlier, too, Patty Considine's final line as Viserys was improvised. The quote, "In my mind, he sees Emma when he reaches out and says, 'My love.' That's what he sees the moment he dies." They used it, which is amazing. That was all improvised. And then there was something else I wanted to pull up here from...
My love?
My love.
I was thinking of the Justin Timberlake song.
Yeah, here it is. George R.R. Martin says House of the Dragon needs 4 seasons of 10 episodes each to do justice to the Dance of the Dragon storyline. He also confirmed Daeron Targaryen will be in the show and is currently in Old Town. He is the 4th child of Alicent and Viserys.
Ooh.
Episode 8's director Geeta Patel confirms Alicent didn't poison Diana as well. That is the girl that her son raped.
Yeah.
Quote, "The tea was definitely to prevent pregnancy, the same tea young Rhaenyra got."
That's what I thought too.
Me too.
I could tell.
And then there was something else here too. So episode 8 is now the highest rated episode on IMDb as well. Episode 1 dealing an 8.7, episode 2 an 8.4, episode 3 an 8.8, episode 4 an 8.5, episode 5 an 8.9, episode 6 an 8.1. Oh, he's back.
That was weird.
What was the last episode you heard me rattle off?
Episode, I think I heard 5 or 6.
Episode 5 was an 8.9. Episode 6 was an 8.1. Episode 7 was a 9.3. And then this week's IMDb rating was a 9.5. And then, was there anything else for this episode that I had written?
It's a good show, man. It really is.
Oh, yeah, and like I said, the crown falling off Viserys' head was an accident while they were shooting episode 8. And it was just a total improv thing by Matt Smith, and it turned into that epic, just like, cool-ass fucking scene.
This is a cool moment between brothers, dude. Like, you could see that Daemon was very much upset and startled by his brother's, current status. I did see that George R. Martin said that Patty played the character so well that he thinks it's better than what he wrote, which is awesome.
Epic.
Like, to have the man who created this universe, this world, the book, your character, and he's like, yeah, you did it more justice than I ever could imagine. Like, that's a compliment on compliments,
It's wild. So House of the Dragon episode 8 in the books, which
it was
brings
fire.
us It brings us to a galaxy far, far away. Might be Dylan's favorite show on television right now. Andor episode 6, now in the books, titled The Eye. So here's our breakdown here. Aided by Gorn, the rebels successfully infiltrate the garrison by posing as an escort squad for Commandant J-Hold Behaz, Gorn's superior. They take Behaz's family as hostages and force him to give them access to the garrison's payroll vault while loading the credits onto an Imperial freighter. They are caught by Imperial forces, and Terramin and Gorn are killed in the ensuing firefight. Cinta is unable to make it onto the ship, so only Cassian, Skeen, Vel, and Nemik escape from Aldhani. They land on another planet to treat Nemik's injuries, but he quickly succumbs. With Vel occupied looking after Nemik, Skeen proposes to Cassian that they leave Vel behind and split the payroll between them. Cassian kills Skeen, fearing for his life and disgusted by Skeen's selfishness. He tells Vel about the conversation and informs her that he plans to take a small portion of the payroll, the amount Rael had promised him as payment, and leave everything else to her. And then back on Coruscant, Rael hears news of the theft and quietly celebrates.
That was awesome. When the guy asked and he went back and just started laughing maniacally. That was a really good episode, dude. I don't know how you felt about that, but like the heist planning, like I liked watching the lieutenant's character like perfectly orchestrate everything. Like, no, you guards go over here, have a day off. You go over here. You go over here. All right, you go over here. And because it made sense, I bought into it because his character was such a hard ass when he was doing like, Imperial stuff. So they would never think twice to expect him of being a traitor or question his order because A, his rank, and B, how he, officiates his men. And it was also cool. It sounds messed up, but Kyle knows. He's been doing the show long enough with me. It makes sense, or it's cool that majority of them died because this kind of was a suicide-y mission. Like, it would have felt wrong to me, and you can correct me if you're wrong, anyone listening, call me out. It would have felt too, like, run into the sunset-y if they all survived this heist mission, in my opinion.
I agree 100% with you.
It's just one of those things where it's like, you know we're getting out of it. Did I expect the space redneck looking guy to be a scumbag? Yeah, wasn't that unpredictable. Did I expect him to get murdered by another crew member? No, didn't expect that. Also, I don't know if they're trying to depict him letting the who's the black character's name? I forget his name right now.
I know who you're talking about.
I don't know if they're trying to depict him letting him get killed or if he's just too much of a coward. He clearly did not cover him well enough, regardless. Yeah. And that was an interesting thing I picked up on. You might have noticed that too. It hinted at the two women obviously being in a relationship, and it further doing that, which is awesome. It was a nice little subtle thing I picked up on. Also, the one girl has killer shot. She came out of nowhere and shot that one officer like a fucking ninja.
She also Fortnite dropped in.
She did Fortnite drop in. I had no idea. I was like, "This is going. You guys are in a pickle," and I was like, "Never mind."
I'm Pickle Rick.
No, I just and this is the best part. I'm gonna sound. People are gonna be like, "This guy's fucked up." I just liked how dark it was. They literally made the Imperial scumbag, high-ranking official have a heart attack because they were working him too hard, escorting the stolen gold. And like that's a nice touch. That doesn't scream Star Wars to me. Or maybe it does because the Empire...
It screams the side of Star Wars you and I have longed for.
Exactly. The Empire is this super intense organization that runs the galaxy out of order and fear. And within that comes all kinds of people and opportunities. But I also like how this episode made the good guys not that good either. Like it painted a different limelight. Like they're not. It wasn't.
They were like anti-hero.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a clear case of good versus bad. Like like I said, they're working the guy to a heart attack, and it was.
And the set just continues to be impeccable. Like
watching the fighters get into the the pilots getting into TIE fighters was chef kiss.
unbelievable.
I don't think we've ever seen that in Star Wars before ever. Like actually
Yeah.
watching them get into that kind of aircraft.
It was. I thought this episode was a perfect mid-season like episode.
And those light things were really cool too, really pretty. The meteor, whatever they were.
Yeah. I think this show's doing like a really good. Like, I will say, and this is not a knock. I think it's more of just like you got to be in the headspace. It doesn't feel like Star Wars in the slightest, and that's a good thing from the perspective of this is something you and I have been calling for.
Yeah, we haven't even seen an actual stormtrooper yet.
Yeah, like we got the one mention that the one guy was a stormtrooper, but
and the girl putting on the Imperial officer, like the gray uniform.
yeah,
That was the first legit gray uniform we saw too. Everyone
right.
else was kind of wearing like the hybrid ones, pretty much. So it's interesting. It's a great point Kyle brought up. Like, it's not traditional Star Wars in the sense where we haven't even seen like some of these iconic imageries, and also it does not feel like one. It feels like a heist Ocean's 11 mixed with like an action movie a little bit, which I like.
So it's also one of those things where like you got to be in the mindset and you got to be locked in because it's not your typical Star Wars plotline. Like you got to pay attention to so many different kinds of details. So that makes this show that much more unique and that much more different and a very awesome installment into the Star Wars universe. It's wild that we're already at the mid-season point. Granted, we got 3 episodes on premiere day. But I think the show is pacing really, really well for a show that is 12 episodes in a season. But I think they're doing a really, really solid job of telling the story, but also not giving you too much, even though these episodes are like an hour long.
Yeah, they're not super short. Like this one was like 50-something minutes this past week or today.
Yeah. Some of these episodes, though, I do wish that they came out in like 2s.
Yeah, dude, this show's doing a great job at leaving you hanging.
Especially this episode.
Yeah, almost so much so where like you might want to like rank them a little lower because it's like you really have to wait till next week to see what happens.
The writing is so well done. The action is unbelievable. The sets are great. And I think Andor, like, I think the show's just getting started. Like,
I agree.
Which is wild to think about, but I think that's where we are right now is like, you needed to get to the mid-season point to feel like, all right, the plot's about to take off at hyperspeed now, moving forward in these final 6 episodes of season 1. And then who knows what the fuck is going to go down in season 2 of this show when it eventually gets here. But
pure chaos.
Dylan, Andor episode 6, your score.
I'd give it like an 8.8. I was very enamored with the episode. I liked how they didn't, like, for what it was, like, there was action, but they didn't kill it with action. Like, it wasn't like a Michael Bay movie where it was like explosion. You know, they were like, here, let's still have it. Like, I guess the good word is like suspense.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, it almost made me think of a movie called The Valkyrie, one more Tom Cruise. It's like the assassination for Hitler, just because of how suspenseful it was. Like, they are robbing the Imperial military base, and that's very suspenseful. I like that feeling.
I think I'm going to give it an 8.6. I liked it as well. I thought it was really, really well done. I thought it was a perfect mid-season like landing point for Andor and where I feel this show is going to, continue to progress to. I think they're doing a fucking fantastic job with this show. It's one of the best pieces of Star Wars media we've gotten in a really long time, and I think it's only going to continue to get better and better.
Because there's no sand.
Or shiny swords.
Yeah.
Or Skywalker, like, plot that you don't really need.
And they're not forcing... Like, they organically had a droid pop up for a little bit, but it wasn't even Cassian's. It was his mom's, adopted mom's.
Yep.
Like, they threw a lot of the Star Wars tropes out of the window, and I like that. I'm sure 1 or 2 will crawl in there eventually, but it's just nice doesn't feel like a Star Wars film.
Yeah, it's really, really good. So if you're not watching Andor, you're doing yourself a disservice. But we are going to flip the lights. It's Werewolf by Night. And I think
night.
I uploaded the wrong thing.
Look, Kyle.
At night. Werewolf by Night, Dylan, is the very first Marvel holiday special. It is a Halloween special, and we all know from our time covering Moon Knight that Werewolf by Night is the first appearance in the comics for our boy Moon Knight.
This is Halloween.
This is Halloween, Halloween, Halloween.
I have to watch that. My annual watch of that.
I think Werewolf by Night should spark Marvel and Disney Plus to order all of these holiday specials to the umpteenth degrees. Oh no. Hi.
Sorry about that. It's raining in New Jersey if you aren't local, and on the WoW went southern, but the Wi-Fi here keeps going out.
Werewolf by Night should spark Kevin Feige or Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
To have one of these like once a year. I think it was so well done. It is in the vein, like a lot of people are comparing like the vibe of it to like the OG
it's
classic,
a one-off,
like
right?
Clue.
It's only one episode.
Yeah, so it's a special. I was shocked at the length too. It's a 54-minute special, which I think when we saw this was announced, I kind of speculated it was gonna be like 30 minutes. But it's a whole thing. Like they do the old school movie trope, Dylan, like in the top corner, like with old school film, how you have like those little circles at the top that like signify like, oh, we're moving to Act 2. They do that throughout. There's 3 acts, if you will. And it's all following the death of Ulysses Bloodstone, who is a monster hunter. And you have 5 experienced monster hunters, including our boy Jack Russell, a.k.a. Werewolf by Night, who are summoned by Ulysses' widow, Verussa, who, Dylan, Verussa Bloodstone is a member of the Midnight Suns at one point. So that's something to keep in mind, too, for later on in the MCU. They get summoned to Bloodstone Manor, where they're instructed to participate in a competitive hunt to determine their new leader, who will wield the powerful Bloodstone. Yay. And I think it's through this maze, which gives off this Clue vibe. If you've ever played the classic board game Clue or seen the theatrical performance or the movie. We also get Ulysses' estranged daughter, Elsa, to come through, and she's a competitor for the Bloodstone. And the whole thing is in black and white, Dylan, except for when the Bloodstone is on screen, it beams red, which gave off big-time, like, WandaVision vibes when we saw the toaster during the 50s episodes and everything. We get the introduction of Man-Thing in Werewolf by Night, which I think is a huge, huge introduction.
That's sick. Man-Thing, he's pretty cool.
He's great, and they use his real name, Ted, and it was just so, like, I was enamored by how fucking cool Werewolf by Night was as a special and as a property for the MCU. I think it's only going to just continue to progress the MCU storyline along, and in terms of where it falls in the timeline order, if you're watching in the timeline order, according to Disney Plus, you watch Werewolf by Night after you watch Thor: Love and Thunder, and spoiler, no context, Dylan, there is something that kind of pertains to one Gore the God Butcher on one of the walls in Werewolf by Night, which was very, very interesting. Awesome. I was really impressed by Michael Giacchino and company. He did the score and he directed it. And I want Marvel to give him more things like this to direct, because if Phase 5 is going to be all about monsters and like this darker, and let me tell you, Dylan, they were not lying. All the people who got screeners of Werewolf by Night, it is the goriest, most like gruesome Marvel property we've gotten ever.
Okay, so it's legit, right? They weren't just full of shit.
They were not full of shit. There are some creepy killings. There is blood. And I think there's a big reason why they did it in black and white, so they could show blood. It was gruesome, and I was enjoying every minute of it. Like, it was the dark side of Marvel that you and I have been just wanting more and more of. And I think Jack Russell, Werewolf by Night, I think Man-Thing, I think Elsa Bloodstone, and Verussa Bloodstone are 4 characters from this thing that we could see pop up time and time again in the MCU. And I was talking to one of my coworkers today. I think Man-Thing being introduced opens things up for potential for Howard the Duck.
That's your boy, dude.
That's my boy. Because in the comics, there's a lot of links between the Collector and the Grand Master and Howard the Duck and Man-Thing, and I think that could come into play. I thought this was so well done. I'm so excited for you to sit down and watch it because it is right up your alley. Dylan's a huge Halloween horror guy,
Yes,
and you add Marvel into that. I think, Dylan, you're going to be really impressed by Werewolf by Night. I love the black and white ambiance.
I like the way you said ambiance right there.
It's
keep
very
100 with
fun,
you.
and I need more of Jack Russell and Man-Thing together. I need them in a buddy cop situation. Their friendship in this special is just pure gold. And if you haven't watched it or you haven't known about it, I highly recommend sitting down. It's coming out at the perfect time, right during spooky season. And I think this is something that, like, not even like Marvel nerds like you and I, but like Halloween people will sit down and watch Werewolf by Night every single Halloween.
Oh, so you're saying it can be that? I mean, if it becomes that much of an icon, then that's incredible, like all around for people who are buying that.
Yeah, and this is obviously, I think we can put Werewolf by Night in its own category of scoring, simply because it is a special, and it's the first time we've gotten a special. Which is separate from the I Am Groot scoring. Those were shorts. I'm truly going to give Werewolf by Night on the special scale a 9.2 out of 10.
I cannot rate it yet, but I trust Kyle.
I really enjoy it. If I had to just do it as like a show scale, I think it would be pretty damn close, if not the same score. I thought Werewolf by Night was so fucking good. The gore, the spookiness, the story and plot, and just the characters that are introduced in this thing, I think are so important for the MCU. I can't wait to see more of these characters because I think they're going to be super, super important for plots moving forward. And I can't wait for you to text me after you watch it, Dylan, and be like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome.
And I will 110% do that because usually you get right what I like in shows. So I'm very looking forward to this.
So Werewolf by Night, Dylan will have his score and his breakdown for it next episode. But without any further ado, let's get into everybody's favorite segment. It is the streaming platform Multiverse News and Notes, brought to you by our homies over at Pickup. You guys can go to playpickup.com, start playing the hottest headlines in sports, rack up points on your fan profiles, cash them in for prizes on the Pickup Marketplace. All you got to do is sign up with your phone number. Go to playpickup.com now and start playing those headlines. Dylan, we have a new cast member for 2 big MCU movies.
Okay.
Christian and I talked about this when you were out. It was alleged that this man was going to be cast. We have our recasting for General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross
Will
in
I
the
be
MCU.
displeased or happy with this?
This
casting?
person will appear in Captain America New World Order and the Thunderbolts.
Is it just an old guy? Did they just take the oldest actor? Let's see. So if would they take Harrison Ford or something, like an old ass fucking just Okay. I no.
That's exactly who they cast.
It's ironic too because he's always so grumpy about roles.
Harrison Ford is now coming to the MCU, crossing over from Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and will now portray Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, and we might get Harrison Ford as Red Hulk.
Yeah, granted, his days of stunts are probably a little behind him, but nonetheless, it would be really interesting to just that concept of having Harrison Ford, the Indiana Jones, become an Hulk. You know, it's weird.
I am so intrigued to see how that all plays out. But Harrison Ford is now Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross in the MCU. Rest in peace to our OG Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
I gotta pull it up because I'm blanking on his name.
I always forget his name too. But that's still just crazy.
It is William Hurt.
Okay, there you go.
Rest in peace, William Hurt. Harrison Ford, you got big shoes to fill.
As like Harrison Ford's not like the that's funny.
Dylan, we have some unfortunate sad news, but we have updates on how reportedly Yu-Gi-Oh creator Kazuki Takahashi passed away obviously earlier this year.
That, dude. It's crazy.
Reportedly died trying to save multiple people who were drowning.
Yeah.
Waves were crashing in, creating whirlpools that dragged in the swimmers. Scuba diving instructor and U.S. military officer Major Robert Borgau dove straight in and rescued them, and Kazuki Takahashi also dove in to assist, but he never surfaced.
That's nuts. Just to think about that. It's just crazy how someone that played a part in our childhood, you and I, and I'm sure many other youths around the world, to see that he went down like that, I guess that just further shows his character, like as a human being and a man. It's crazy though.
I think you'll be very excited about this next piece of news, though.
It's not Harrison Ford again, is it?
This comes from comicbook.com. We have a new video game in development, Dylan. Actually, video games.
Okay. So it has to be a series that you and I have covered or talked about.
It's not yet, actually, surprisingly enough. But it is something on our list. Invincible video games are officially in development.
That'd be sick. It's basically like Superman, though, pretty much, because that's kind of his power set.
Dylan, one of our podcast heroes, Brendan Fraser, says that he's open to reprising his role as Rick O'Connell in the Mummy franchise. Injected into my veins.
Yes.
Need it. I need that to happen.
I need it. I didn't know I needed it till a minute ago.
Next up on the news and notes here, Dylan, I have the entire future slate of the MCU and what is to come following She-Hulk Attorney at Law. November 11th, we have Black Panther Wakanda Forever, followed up by the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. That will end Phase 4.
Wow.
Phase 5 looks like this. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, Secret Invasion, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Echo, Loki Season 2, The Marvels, Blade Asterisk, Ironheart, Agatha Coven of Chaos, The Thunderbolts, Captain America New World Order, and Daredevil Born Again. And then going into Phase 6.
Damn.
Fantastic Four, Avengers, The Kang Dynasty, and Avengers Secret Wars. And then the future slate, reported / confirmed projects. These are not categorized. Spider-Man 4, Shang-Chi Untitled Sequel, Nova, Wonder Man,
Nova,
Armor Wars, now a movie, an Untitled Wakanda series, an Okoye series, Marvel Zombies, What If Season 2, Deadpool 3, which is now confirmed to be happening, obviously. Spider-Man Freshman Year and X-Men 97, as well as... I think that might be it. That's it right now. So that is the MCU looking ahead.
That's crazy, dude. To think that there's that much on the horizon.
It is wild. We got our first look at Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, who will star in Spirited, releasing November 18th on Apple TV+. Little holiday special with two of the goats.
Oh, speaking of Ryan Reynolds, I did read that he wants to appear on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia as Mac's girlfriend.
Yes.
Or boyfriend.
Yes. Need it. I don't know how you're going to feel about this one, though, Dylan.
Uh-oh.
Some Star Wars news.
Uh-oh.
Ahmed Best says it's time to share how it all went down with the prequel trilogy. He also teased, saying there was a lot about it that's true. He teased, Misala Darth Jar Jar.
No. Stay so. We've been through this, Kyle. This phase is over for you.
Dylan's like the Stephen A. Smith meme. We've been bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived. We have new release date titles for MCU films that have been delayed, unfortunately, but it makes sense for all of them to be delayed. Blade will now release September 6th, 2024. Deadpool 3 will now release November 8th, 2024. Fantastic Four, get yourself a boo and bring them to the Fantastic Foe, February 14th, 2025. And Avengers Secret Wars, May 1st, 2026.
Damn. Some of those are so far out.
A show that you and I are highly anticipating, Dylan, on one HBO Max. Colin Farrell says the Penguin series takes place a week after the Batman movie. Gotham is still somewhat underwater. It opens up with my feet splashing through the water in Falcone's office. It's so well written.
That's fucking sick, by the way. Holy shit, that's awesome. I can't wait for that now.
We've been very much waiting for that since the movie ended and since we knew that was going to be happening. Dylan, are you a Hunter x Hunter fan?
I have not dabbled in it, but it's very popular.
So apparently the manga is returning on October 23rd, and it's been on hiatus since 2018.
Yeah, the author... It's like a thing. I don't know why. It just seems like a lot of people, like manga writers, apparently like get sick a lot, or like they'll stop writing because they're sick, or sometimes they die, and a lot of mangas get left in like limbo, and that was one. But now he's writing it again, so who knows?
Oscar Isaac confirmed at New York Comic Con, Dylan, that Moon Knight will return in the MCU. Quote, all I can say is it's not the last we've heard of the system that is Moon Knight.
That's awesome, because that show was good.
So good. I'm going to make you feel old here, Dylan. 19 years ago this week, Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1 was released.
Holy shit. 19 years ago, you said?
19 years ago.
I could not have watched that movie, Ben, that's for sure. I was not allowed.
We got some heartwarming stuff at New York Comic Con this week, too. Christopher Lloyd and Michael J. Fox reunited at Comic Con, which was super, super cool.
It looked good to see him together. It sucks to see Michael Fox. His looks is getting worse, but he's still very positive about it, so I'm happy for him.
Let's see here. What else do we have on the list? Oh, we got a new trailer for the Addams Family Wednesday series, which I'm very excited to dive into on Netflix. That show looks fucking awesome.
That looks pretty promising, that show.
Let's see here. Oh, and I got casting for that as well. Playing Uncle Fester in Netflix's Wednesday series is Fred Armisen.
Whoa.
Anything else that I have here?
Let's see if I can see anything else.
We do have some pain for for the timeline. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was supposed to release earlier this week, but obviously got delayed.
He just had to do it.
Just had to do it to him. Nicholas Hoult is joining Robert Eggers' Nosferatu movie.
Interesting.
Oh, we also got everybody freaking out about Chris Pratt's Mario voice.
I didn't think it's that bad.
I did not think it was that bad. You got to think, too, like, if you're going to watch a movie that's going to be anywhere in, like, the 90 to 110-minute range for Mario.
You don't want to hear the stereotypical, oh.
Right. You're going to want to hear something that is, like, you're going to be able to tolerate. And not that the Mario voice isn't tolerable. It's just more of a video game setting.
Yeah. Well,
You got to have a movie
you don't hear him
tolerance.
talk nonstop. He's going to have more talking dialogue in this than you would in a video game.
100%. I had no issues with it, and Super Smash Bros. Cinematic Universe is coming. Michelle Yeoh and Pete Davidson will voice Transformers in Rise of the Beasts.
What? That's random.
We also have Dune 2 will now release November 3rd, 2023. Feel like that one keeps getting pushed back a bit too. Happy birthday. Happy 54th birthday to the man, the myth, the legend, who is now MCU canon, one Hugh Jackman.
Dude. Hugh Jackman. I love him.
I feel like they make Hugh Jackman out to be much older than he actually is.
No, yeah, that's true. I mean, he is in his 50s, but that's not that old. But
Right.
He looks great for his age.
Gangs of New York TV series is in development, and Martin Scorsese will executive produce and direct the first 2 episodes.
Interesting. That's a great movie.
Mahershala Ali is reportedly still fully on board with Blade despite the delays. He's also allegedly been given the creative power to request script rewrites. And like we mentioned, Blade will now release September 6th, 2024.
Yeah, they better give him fucking rewrites. It's almost like he's won 2 Oscars.
It's almost like, it's his movie. Should be given those powers that be.
That's true. Well, some actors you might not want to give them the power, but yeah.
I think Mahershala's deserved it.
No, he's 112% deserved it.
Anything else, Dylan, before we sign off for the people?
No, I had a couple things down, and you brought them up, so I got nothing.
I want to make sure I didn't forget anything that I might have texted you earlier this week.
Yeah, no. Feel free to look. While he's doing that, I'll say my candid line twice, like I always do.
Oh, this was the one. This was
Go
the
ahead.
one that I forgot. Our boy Otto Hightower is also Dr. Connors in Andrew Garfield's The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
It blew my mind when I saw that.
Yeah, I didn't even see it. Usually I see that stuff. I guess I was so busy not paying attention.
I guess the facial hair changes it, and obviously when he's Dr. Connors, he also has glasses on, and his hair is different, but man, that blew my mind.
Yeah, dude, it was nuts. I was just going to say my usual, let us know what do you want us to watch. Please leave a like and subscribe, and Kyle and I will do our best to getting back to you. And obviously we're going to try whatever show you tell us to watch.
Big facts. So make sure you guys are following us on the socials, Twitter and Instagram at StreamerSZN. Follow Dylan on Twitter at Dylan Mazzola. Once we get to 200 followers on Twitter, Dylan will put StreamerSZN in his bio.
Yes, sir.
Just a little incentive there to follow us. And then, of course, follow me on Twitter at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Leave those 5-star ratings and reviews, like Dylan said, with your recommendations of shows and movies for us to watch. She-Hulk is now off the docket.
Boom.
We're down to 2 episodes of House of the Dragon. We're opening up some space on the board here. And obviously next month, Dylan and I will be going and seeing Wakanda Forever, which we will obviously be talking about on this show because it'll pertain to so much in the MCU. So that'll eventually be on there in November, but we got some time before that. So let us know what you want us to watch, whether it's on Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, whatever it may be, Apple TV Plus. We got
We
it all.
got it. You name it, we got it.
And make sure you guys subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel where you get full video episodes of Streamer Season and all of your favorite Underground Sports Philadelphia podcasts. And once we get to 1,000 subscribers, that 1K Gauntlet Challenge kicks in. So subscribe. Smash that like button. Ring the bell icon. Comment down below your thoughts on the She-Hulk finale, House of the Dragon Episode 8, Andor Episode 6, Werewolf by Night, or any of the things we talked about in news and notes, or anything we might have missed. Oh, also, Dylan, I forgot the show that we found on Stars that has the 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's called The Serpent Queen. It looks
Queen.
very, very interesting. The main character's from The Walking Dead, the actor.
Okay.
She's from The Walking Dead, and I was just blown away to see a show that has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'll have to give it a
'cause
look-see,
it's
man.
very
It's
rare.
that good.
So if you've seen The Serpent Queen, comment down below. Let us know if we should watch it or not. And big thank you to our sponsors. All of their information, our links and promo codes are in the show notes on audio, in the description on YouTube. And this has been another episode of Streamer Season, the exclusive streaming platform TV and movie podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. For Dylan, I'm KB. And until next time, we're going to go Hulk out one last time on a dragon in a galaxy far, far away. Maybe with a werewolf or a man thing. But we'll see you guys next time. Peace.